Ladies and gentlemen, I am Augustine Versace. This is Onell Media, and you are awesome. I just want to thank you guys for returning for another video. If you are here, you are the fam. Give me dap. Alright, I'm rocking with you. So, as normal, we hear something about a Sony camera, and you know your boy gotta say something about it. So today, we're gonna be talking about the Sony Fx3. Alright? Alright, so first off, before we get into anything, I just want to let you guys know that we are on the road to 1K subscribers. So please go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can be back here, and hit those notifications so you can know whenever I have a video dropping with these super hot topics. So today we're going to talk about the Sony Fx3. Yes, it has leaked, my people. Yes, we have another camera on the pipeline from Sony, and it's just something that doesn't sit right with me. But before I get into that, we're gonna get into the specs, okay? So first off, we have 12 megapixel full frame sensor. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? I think you guys are gonna see in a second why I'm not extremely happy. I'm kinda happy. So then the next thing on the set is won't have any ND filters. Unlike its big brother, the FX6, it will not have the built-in ND filters, which is okay if you are a content creator like myself. I'm used to not having the built-in ND filters, but if this is the FX line, the cinema line, then why wouldn't we have that? Okay, next thing up, it has a stills mode. Doesn't that sound familiar again, guys? Listen, we know this camera. This is why I am having an issue with the camera. I love the camera. But to the next spec, all right? It has IBIS, in-body image stabilization. Great, that's lovely. The FX6 does not have in-body image stabilization. So to add in-body image stabilization to the cinema line is awesome. Then they have the NPFZ 100 battery, which is of course the beast of a battery that the A7 III uses, the A7S III. See how I put that in there? You still ain't got it yet? Oh, okay. All right, it takes CF Express cards. CF Express cards. Did I say CF Express cards? It takes CF Express cards. Those super expensive new cards that you have to buy from Sony because nobody else really has them yet. So, and it records in 4K 120p. Yeah, not 8K. So, with that being said, we got those specs out of the way. 12 megapixels, no ND, has a still mode, in-body image stabilization, uses those Z batteries, takes the CF Express card, and it records in 4K 120. But now I have to talk about what I deem to be good and bad with this camera, okay? And it all comes to one thing, and one thing in particular. When everything good and bad is brought together, I'm just had this one thing, trust me. Okay, so the good and the bad are actually the same exact things for me. This is why. This camera is rumored to be over 4K to purchase. Now, as you can clearly see from the body, right? As you can clearly see from the body, there is ways to attach certain things. The same handle that you would use for the FX6, you can use that with the Fx3, which means you're gonna have access to full XLR ports on your camera. That's great for audio. Talking heads like this with a more secure, more professional mic, I would love to have that. Great, right? That's awesome, cool. The button layout. The button layout is video centric. And what I mean by that is if you look at the layout of the buttons, they are strategically placed for you to be shooting video. That is one of the big great things that you have with the cinema line is the cinema line is built to shoot video. So some of the things that you would normally have, like the shutter button, are not needed when you're doing just video with the camera that you have. So the button layout is amazing. The slew of attachments that you'll be able to use and put on this camera, as opposed to its closest relative within the Sony lineup, which would be the a7S III, which leads me into why I have a problem with this camera. This camera is exactly what the Sony a7S III should have been. Listen, it has the flippy outy screen. It has the attachments for the cinema attached things, just stuff you can put on there, handles, different types of grips, XLR ports, everything that you would get with the cinema camera. It has that, okay? That's beautiful. a7S III. It looks to have the exact same guts as the Sony a7S III. Now, besides the attachments that you give me, essentially, you are giving me what the a7S III should have been. Now, this is a problem that I've had with Sony before. Because when Sony came out with the a6400, the a6400 was awesome. It was amazing. It was a decent jump forward from the a6300 to me, right? It was a decent jump forward. It was crippled a little bit, but for what you were getting as far as image quality, I was okay with that. Until really soon after the really soon after the a6400 came out, we were introduced to the a6600, which was essentially the same guts with the Z battery and IBIS. This is the camera you guys should have gave us in the first place. This is what I don't like about Sony's marketing, okay? You don't give me a camera that's almost exactly what I want, and I say, you know what? It could have just used a couple of things. And then you turn around and give me another camera right behind it that gives me those other things that I thought I was missing in the first camera. Now I've spent my money on this first camera, and if I want to get the other camera, now you guys have put me in a messed up situation, because now I'm gonna have to sell this camera that I just got for lower than what I paid for it, just to get the camera that I really wanted. Or I'm gonna have to find a way to finesse and get both cameras, or I'm just gonna be stuck with a camera that's almost what I needed. And you guys came out with exactly what I needed right behind it. That is some. I'm gonna bleep that out, but basically what I'm saying is, you're getting over on the customer. Sony, why you gotta do that, baby? Don't do that to us, man. But, oh my, okay. How can I put this? Don't reel me in and then let me down just a month later after you've already reeled me in. Because you reeled me in with a camera that was almost the thing that I wanted, and then you came out with what I wanted. Now, if you have the Sony a7S III, you pretty much have one of the best video-centric cameras that you could possibly have with that smaller form factor of a point and shoot or a photo camera. And do you really need the FX3? In my personal opinion, I think not. Honestly, that's just how I feel. If you have the a7S III, you are doing really well and you do not need the FX3. But for those people who were getting their pennies together to get them an a7S III, now for a little bit more money, you'll be able to get the FX3, which improves on the a7S III. Now, this is where it differentiates for me. If you are going to be doing a lot of run and gun and you're not going to be setting up and rigging this camera, there really is no reason not to get the a7S III. For a camera having the same guts, insides, whatever, as far as we know, a lot of it is speculation, but you could tell from certain things that are on the camera body that certain things are there and are not there. So, with that being said, if you're not going to rig out the FX3 and you're just going to use it handheld, it is essentially the a7S III, which means you do not need to go and get that camera unless you are going to rig it out. It's amazing for people that typically shoot in a cinema style. So what I mean by that is, if you are a person that was waiting on that FX6, you can't get that order in. You pre-ordered it, it's still not there. You're primarily a YouTuber, but you wanted to step up your game. You wanted to get into that cinema line, right? Well, if that is you, then the Fx3 is actually right up your alley. It's a little bit cheaper than the Fx6. It gives you pretty much all of the features that you get from the A7S III, in theory, and you can get your cinema rig on with it and go crazy with it. That right there is what I feel this camera would be conducive to, is just using it as a cinema camera, but it can also do the YouTube route. 2 for 1 if you haven't already got the A7S III. So guys, how do you feel about this camera? Tell me what you think in the comments, and please don't be shy. If you are here, you other fam, give me dap again. Matter of fact, give me a hug, bring it in. Alright, I'm rocking with you. Please subscribe. Give me that like, man. It's a small thing for you. Few seconds, really big for your boy. I'm trying to grow this community here so I could be back and let you guys know about everything. I'm trying to get in the loop, you feel me? I'm trying to get in that loop, that figure 8, circle me in so I can get this information to you guys as quickly as possible. And with that, the channel has to grow. So yeah, with that being said, as always, peace. I love you guys.